All right. Hey, everybody. How's it going? Welcome to part two, pick number two of the 2020 NFL mock draft. Today, the Washington Redskins are on the board. But before we get into that, as always, I just want to wish everybody, hopefully, everybody's doing good. Hopefully, everybody is, safe out there. Everybody's, doing the right things. Everybody's doing just really well. And I hope everybody can enjoy this weekend, and hopefully this video takes your mind off a little bit, and hopefully we have a good time tonight. So as I said yesterday, every night we'll be doing a video a night and up until April 20th of each team picking. And tonight, with pick number two, as you have guessed probably by the picture, it is the Washington Redskins turn. And as I said yesterday, um, we're going to try to do Q&A during the video. We'll do Q&A after the video. So any questions you guys have, my assistant, my helper over there, will wave me down, and then we'll answer some questions as the video goes. And other than that, let's get this thing started. So as I said, pick number two, Washington. So in order to really understand Washington's situation, we really have to go back. And I'm talking about last year's draft class. So last year, Washington had two first rounders. They went with their quarterback, which was Dwayne Haskins, and they went with the edge rusher, Montez Sweat. So again, just bad, and nothing injury wise. It's just a bunch of drama with Washington from top to bottom, from ownership to head coaches to players. So in order to understand this, before the season even started, Trent Williams, Pro Bowl left tackle, he held out. He held out. He wanted more money. He wanted his demands, and it was his way to give him more money or release. So he really just had Washington, by the fingers. So in a result, he didn't play. So Trent Williams really just was a non-factor, and he's a great left tackle. He's still got years left. It's just he wants out of Washington. He's seen his career just, flashing by, and he's just at the point now where he just wants his money, and I can't blame him. Anybody that says, like these guys should be grateful, it's no, these guys are really, talented. We can't do what they do. So the dude wants his money. I can't say anything. So that was the first issue. The second issue was the rumors whether the quarterback choice of Dwayne Haskins was it ownership or was it Jay Gruden's pick? People close that are Redskins fans that I know, they tell me that it was more of Dan Snyder. It was more of a Dan Snyder pick than it was a Jay Gruden pick. Um, Whether that's true or not, it still didn't give him the right to do what they did to him. Was sit him out, play him, sit him out, play him. That really ruins the mentality, especially for a rookie quarterback. But overall, I think he handled it. I think leading up to the draft, I told a couple of people that yeah, I would take Dwayne if it came down to it. I mean, the guy's prepares harder than any quarterback that I've seen, and it showed when a couple of years ago he played against Michigan, in that big game, and they had to plug him in, and talk about being prepared. He destroyed Michigan. He did his thing. Obviously, Ohio State is a very talented school, but give credit where credit is due. He did his part. So with all that being said, he's going to be an okay quarterback. I just don't know now with the whole coaching staff coming in of Ron Rivera and his staff coming in. Usually how it works in the NFL is when you get a new head coach, usually the new head coach wants his guy. Whether Dwayne is his guy or not, I don't know. I mean, it was recently that we saw Arizona do it. Arizona a couple years ago, they chose Josh Rosen, pick 15. They ended up getting number one the following year. They traded Rosen away, and then it went to, they selected Kyler Murray, who ended up being Offensive Rookie of the Year and all that stuff. So whether that was a good idea or not, it's still yet to be seen. But so far, it's looking like a smart move. And now Josh Rosen got traded to Miami. He did start a couple games, but unfortunately, Fitzpatrick is just, the staple, quarterback, hey, if you just want a starter, nothing flashy, just get Ryan Fitzpatrick. And, he might not win you a lot of games, but, he's either going to be a consistently good or he's going to be bad. And that's just what it is with Fitzpatrick. So, but on top of that, I don't know what the new head coach, Ron Rivera, thinks. We don't know that yet. I mean, there are rumors of him trading Dwayne Haskins away. I don't see it happening. I think he will give Dwayne a chance. He might bring in somebody to compete with him, but as far as, trading him away and trying to get another quarterback, I don't see that. Um, but as far as that for the Dwayne Haskins thing, that's what I think. I think he'll stay. I think he'll be starting next year, week 1 for the Redskins in Washington. With their other first round pick, they went to Montez Sweat. It took him a minute. It took him a minute to finally start catching on as an edge rusher. How to beat the tackles and how to get it going. And I think if anything, if it showed anything, he's gonna be good. He's gonna be fine. It's gonna take him a minute, but I think by the end, maybe middle of the next year, I think he'll start picking it up again, and maybe he'll like be the pass rusher that everybody envisioned him to be. I think the surprise pick of Washington last year was Terry McLaurin, the wide receiver. I mean, that was a steal for a third rounder, and for him to do what he did, that was incredible. I mean, that's something that Washington's been lacking for a really long time. They've been trying for a long time to find a receiver, and that's the thing about the NFL is once you have a good receiver, you got to hold on to him for as long as you could. And just unfortunately, it's just so hard to find a true number one. I don't think he's there yet, but the promise that he showed just as a rookie, I think, he will be the true number one. The only thing I could say about Washington is, you know, it just didn't work out for him. 2-14. They got dealt with just, bad luck. The running back situation was just not the best. Whether, Adrian Peterson, Geis, or Love, whoever was there, it's just, yeah, I understand AP is, AP. That's how we're always going to remember him by. And it's amazing to me that, people forget, like, yeah, he was close to rushing, for 1,200 yards. It's just the best days of all day of Adrian Peterson, they're really behind him. He could still play. It's just, he's not what he once was when he did all those crazy cuts and moves. It's just he's not what he was, but he's still one of the better running backs in the league. And then with Geis and Love, unfortunately, they just had injuries from the get-go, from college to being drafted. It's just bad. It seems now Geis is his second year injury prone again. And, with what we saw in Todd Gurley, it's like, hey, man, the second year hurt, we might have to start looking somewhere else. And I think that was the unfortunate part was, Geis was supposed to be a promising player. It's just he got hurt, and I hope he gets better. It's just, there's just some things we can't control. And, if he gets hurt again, I do see Washington getting a running back sometime in the near future. So, now with middle of the season, they fired Jay Gruden. It was just time. It just wasn't working anymore. Whatever his game plan was, whatever he decided, whatever he was trying to do and whatever he was trying to build, it just wasn't working. It was too inconsistent. It was just all over the place. One year they did well and then they fell off and then they try to rebuild something. They try to do something quick. It didn't work. Then they got left in a bad cap space. And this is what kind of ended the Jay Gruden era in Washington. So season's going. Trent Williams is still not there. The staff that he failed is just, I don't buy it for 1 minute that he did fail. I just a guy like him, no, it's just no. I've never heard of a Pro Bowl player kind of like fail, whether it was on purpose or not. No, I don't believe it. I just think that's the dysfunction of Washington right now. It's just that's how they've kind of been ever since Dan bought the team. It's just dysfunction. It's just, it's not working, and whatever it is they're trying to do, and it just wasn't working. But they hired a new coach, Ron Rivera, who's very, very respectable in this league. He's a very good coach. He just a few seasons ago he took the Panthers to the Super Bowl. They lost to eventually the Denver Broncos, who had an amazing defense that year, and so did Carolina. It's just Denver just did enough to win, and after that it was just they did good, and it was just time for Ron to go too. But I think Washington did the right choice. They hired the right guy. I think this is what a young team needs. They need a guy who's a player's coach. Like they need that. They need that. It's not. They try to go the old route, which is systematic guy. It's just it wasn't working with Mike Shanahan. It just was not working anymore. So that didn't work. And then they bring in Ron Rivera, and I thought it was a smart choice. And then one of his first hires was the new defensive coordinator, which was Jack Del Rio. And what people don't remember was the last stint Jack Del Rio had was being head coach of now the Las Vegas Raiders. He got fired. They brought in John Gruden, and he's been out of football for a couple of years now. He was just working recently on ESPN. He was part of the NFL Live crew. Ron Rivera called him up. He said, "You want to be the defensive coordinator?" Jack Del Rio said yes, and there you have it. So now with all that, my prediction is, they really didn't do any signing. So I don't know. They're just trying to save some money, which is probably smart in this case. Is just you have the number 2 pick. Whether they trade it or not, I think it's just they're in a good situation right now. This is what exactly Ron Rivera wants. They just want a rebuild. It's just time for a rebuild, and it's just time. It's time for Washington to finally set things right. And I think the first thing is Ron has to kind of step up and just tell the guys like, "Hey, look, man, he's a player's guy, but he's not afraid to cut some players either that aren't hacking it." And I think that's what they need. For a young team, they need a player's coach that's well disciplined and that's very strict, not too strict, but strict enough to kind of send the message like, we're going to work this together, but if you're not putting in your part, I have no problem dropping you off in this station, and the rest of us will keep moving forward. So, with all that being said, with the number 2 pick, and hold on 1 second. Sorry, something happened. All right, there we go. There we are. So, the number 2 pick has been thrown around a lot lately. People say, trade. People are saying keep. And, in this videos that I'm about to do, so I explained to, some people yesterday, it's just a straight draft. There's no trades. So wherever you're at, that's where you're at. And we're just going to go through because the reason I don't do trades in mock drafts is because I can't predict the future. I don't know who's willing to trade up to 2. I mean, yeah, we can always say, Miami might trade up to 2. The Raiders might move up to 2. Hell, somebody's going to move up to 2, but, we just don't know. So in these videos, it's just a straight draft. It's BPA, which is short for best player available. So with that being said, with the second pick of the 2020 NFL Draft, the Washington Redskins select Chase Young, defensive end from Ohio State. So I think it's a no-brainer. I mean, you brought in a defensive-minded guy. Your first hire was to bring a defensive coordinator who's also respected in this league. And, it makes too much sense. It makes too much sense. Yeah, there's people out there that say, well, he doesn't fit the system. Like, trust me, that was the same problem the Texans had with Jadeveon Clowney. I remember Romeo Cornell standing at the podium at the combine saying, Clowney's a nice player. I just don't know where he fits in our system. Well, when you have a talent like that that's coming out of the draft, all I can tell you is you're a defensive coordinator. Find a way. Because yeah, you can't be a defensive coordinator in the NFL and not find a way to fit in your system. And I think this is going to be a really good pick. And surprise, it's another Ohio State and rusher, high pick again. All the tools. He's got everything you're looking for in an end. He's got the speed. He's got the power. But what I really like about him than Nick and Joey is they all bring different traits, and all of them are incredible. It's just some bring better than others. Nick brings the speed, Joey brings the power. What I like about Chase Young is his hand movement is so advanced for a player at his age. Like, he knows how to shed the block. He knows his moves, and that's the thing about when you scout these defensive linemen, the first question is, I always ask is like, well, what do you look for? Is it his 40? Is it his vertical? Is it his, board jump? It's none of that. It's, you got to look at the hands. How is his hand movement? Because, what people don't realize is, those guys in the trenches, you got to look at it as a boxing match. It's you against him. So you're either going to beat him up or you're going to get beat up. And the thing about Chase Young is his hands are just his hand placement, his hand movement. It's one of the best out there. So I think that's what Washington should do is just go with Chase Young. I understand, they just went with Montez Sweat last year. They went the defensive tackle with from Alabama a couple of years ago. But the way I see it is in today's NFL, these offenses are more spread than ever. The quarterbacks are more mobile than ever. Everybody has to do something. And, everybody has to be a moving part. Everybody's asked to do more. So the better your line is, the better chances you are covering the spread. So that's what I think. Chase Young is gonna go number 2. Barring a trade, a crazy trade or anything. Chase Young's the pick. I think it's a great pickup. I think Del Rio, Ron Rivera, they'll do their magic, and I think it's a great opportunity for Chase Young to learn from Ron Rivera, who was, what people don't remember, he was part of that 85 Bears defense in that famous, legendary 4-6 defense. So it'll help him. And then Jack Del Rio's a really direct, he'll put you in the right situation type of player. So I think Chase Young's going to love them both. As far as free agency goes, all I know is Jordan Reed is gone. Donald Penn, we're not really sure what his thing is. He might come back. He might not. They just tagged Sheriff, their guard, which is, I think that was a smart move. Eventually, they're going to have to get a deal done. As far as other picks for the Redskins, I mean, second round, maybe try to go for a left tackle. Maybe try to go for another offensive tackle because the whole Trent Williams things is just, it's a tricky thing right now, only due to the fact that we don't know what his situation is. We don't know if, because the thing is, he's still under contract. He's still under contract by the Redskins. He still has one more year left on his deal. So whether the Redskins want to cut him, but if they do cut him, it's going to be a cap hit that they don't want to take right now. But if they can find a trade partner and they can pick up, the trading partner can pick up his salary, then I'm sure they'll trade him right away. But should they find no trade partner, I don't see Trent coming back. I think Trent Williams made his message clear that he's done. That I think he's done with Washington. I don't think he wants to. It's not that any hard feelings. It's just, with the way it was and the way it turned out to be, it just wasn't. It wasn't working for him. It just wasn't working for him, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, as far as pick number 2 goes, Chase Young, defensive end out of Ohio State. I mean, the film don't lie. He's one of the better ends. He's one of the better prospects, if not the best prospect. I know Joe Burrow went in yesterday's video. Joe Burrow went number one, but honestly, Chase Young might be the best prospect in this upcoming draft. So, it's just it couldn't happen to a better franchise that needs help, all the help they can get right now. I know that their schedule looks a little rusty. It looks bad, but I think if Ron and Jack and everybody, they just put the pieces right together, they might surprise some people. They just might surprise some people. And maybe if Geis gets healthy, Bryce Love gets healthy, if AP can just do maybe not everything, but if he can just show, enough consistency again, I think it'll help Dwayne a lot. And, with McCollin now as his wide receiver, they'll have to find another one. Now the thing is replacing Jordan Reed, which is, hard to do because Vernon Davis retired. Jordan Reed was injury prone as a tight end with, concussions, which is a shame, but it's a violent sport. You never want to see anybody get hurt. It's just, unfortunately, it's a violent sport. But yeah, I think this is the right choice for Washington. Just go with Chase Young. And with Ron Rivera, Jack Del Rio in the game, I think they'll turn it around here pretty soon. Maybe give it a couple years, and I truly believe that, yeah, they'll turn it around. But thanks again for tuning in. Tomorrow would be, let's see, Detroit. Detroit is on the clock. Tomorrow, I will reveal Detroit's pick. So I hope you guys join, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care.